All right, testing the mic. All right, testing the mic. Test 1, 2, 3. Test. Test 1, 2, 3. Test. All right, mic's working good. Hey guys, how you doing? I'm just here. Oh, thank you, Sucker Wildman. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Well, I'm just testing the car. Haven't let loose yet. So I'll show it to you. It's the Duster. The Duster we've been hanging on to and have a chassis for, so I'll show it to you on camera. My ugly mug will be on camera, so this is it right here. And that's it. This one we haven't let loose yet, which we intend to soon. It's a Sidewinder configuration, and runs real good. Of course, this is a traditional, stadium type dirt track car. That's why it's got the fender wells that way, and the wheels stick out as either the FF tires on this car. It's a Sidewinder. I think it have it at 1136 or 1236. I can't remember. Got to count the pinions, but I think the gear, I'm pretty sure it's actually 34. It's the blue gear, so it's 34. Next year we'll be, letting a lot of stuff more out on the site. I know we've been saying that because you get distracted by so much stuff. We start on one thing and then we float on to another, and that's Dave and I. We do that. Oh, what about this? What about that? And we forget about to do the things we really wanted to, release. But we will soon. I know the Volkswagen is one of these ones. Also, there is the other Camaro. That is the Droop Snoop Camaro, we call it. And this one has a plastic chassis for it too. And this one I've been kind of running around testing. This is a long cam motor configuration. I think we have it also on the Sidewinder. But this car, it's a cool ass body. I've always liked this body. And so just again, just messing around. And I got this one all set finally, this Duster. Shut the door there. And started just playing around with it a little bit. Excuse me. Get my seat up here, and I'll turn off this camera and we'll have the other one. And make sure I can look at the comments. All right. Soccer Bro, good afternoon. How you doing? Soccer Wildman, Dave. Dave, what's up, Dave? John Tucci and Tad. Again, I'm just hanging out, guys. I'm not doing anything special. I hope I'm not interrupting anybody else's stuff, like maybe Dave. I didn't really check to see if Dave was on, so you don't get people all pissy at me about cutting into their time, because people do get sensitive over that. So hopefully I'm not doing that. But yep. Excuse me. Excuse me. Clear my throat a lot. Let me adjust my screen here. And I should have a split screen. I should think about doing that in the future. Having two screens. A two-screen computer. Come on, stupid thing. There it goes. So, all right. Cool. I'm cooking lunch. Yeah. Good. Just woke up. Good for whatever you are here. I appreciate that. So, here's the Duster. Dave's got his running and it screams, and I agree. Screaming little cars. Oop. Adjust my brake. Popped out of there. I don't have anything in the slot. Right, yeah. Adjust here a little. Hey. Less sensitivity, more brake. So this car has yet to be put on the site yet. This is a Duster. It's a Sidewinder motor configuration. I'm sure we'll be offering a digital version of this. We're kind of testing the digital stuff. That all depends on the guys that have digital chassis that I send to, if they're actually going to build them. So I'll know in a few weeks. If I don't know in 2 weeks, I'll figure that that they just don't have time, which is understandable. Everybody has family. You know, I'll see if I can find somebody else that would be willing to build them. And I've sent some to Herreras, Joe, but his is going to Canada is quite the bitch, sending stuff to Canada, because what happens is when I send stuff to Canada, and I have a customer that orders from Canada a lot. He's ordered a lot of cars, and a real good guy, Gary Crone is his name. Really appreciate his business. So what happens is when I ship everything, it goes from North Carolina, instead of going up north, it goes all the way to Miami. I don't know why. It goes right to Miami, Florida. Then it sits there for, I don't know, when it clears customs, and then it flies way the hell back north. So with Joe's and Gary's stuff, everything goes to Miami first. Don't ask me why. It's the U.S. postal system. And then it flies all the way back north to Canada. And sometimes Canada's mail system isn't great either, because Gary, who's ordered a lot of stuff from me, he's got some late model cars that weren't delivered. They were attempted to be delivered but weren't delivered, so they're at a Canadian postal facility. So I messaged him to ask him, hey, did you pick up your order? Because it's sitting there, and he told me, yeah, the mail there is not the greatest. So not any better than the U.S. Sometimes the U.S. really screws up quite a bit. So ACZ Zulster running about here on urethane tires. These are the 21 166 FF tires, or 22 166 FF, excuse me. And we are running it over here. Duster's a good performing car. The balance just right. That's what hauls the mail. Yes, sir. Yeah, that I know. I had to put a little weight in mine, I think, but Dave's runs real good, and he's right. They are nicely balanced. As a Sidewinder, they run real good. The thing is, when you have a Sidewinder configuration, you have to, when it's a normal car, I would just say not a dirt track car like with the big hogged out wheel wells, you have to really have a minimum, size tire and wheel to work with that kind of configuration when it's a car that is a stock configuration. So when you have something like this, you have a little more liberty to stick the wheels out more. On an inline, you have more adjustability than you do as a Sidewinder, because the gear's on the side. But on this car, it's not a problem because the wheels are designed to protrude out of the wheel well, so it looks the part. I haven't broken in this car, and what I usually do when I break these chassis and motors in, I don't stick them in water and run fucking 15 volts and all that bullshit. Sorry if I'm swearing. I basically get the car, put it together, make sure everything's, in order, and then I place it on the track, and then I use the good old Harbor Freight dollar store um, little, and Harry's made a video on this, little, these are basically what they are. See? Real easy to do. And I break them in by running them, you know, with the sensitivity to the point where I could go make them a ghost car on their own. And I let them do that for about 4 to 5 hours. And I pretty much have my car broken in, to be honest, when I do that. And then, all the axles have settled into the bushings and the gears have really, worked its way in. And there you go. That's how I do it. Now you can sit there and hook it up, stick it in water, whatever fucking joy juice everybody does to break the motor in, and then or do it without water and let it sit on the, everybody does it differently. Or get your gears, your lapping stuff, your polish or whatever you want to put, super lube, fucking tiger juice shit on it, and freaking do it off the bench. But I decided to rather do it with the full car, so I just do it that way. I run it at a. I'll show you. So I'll set my controller like sensitivity to 0, and I'll get. I don't know if you can see this. I'll get this, and I'll clamp it. Oop. 1 second. 1 second here. Too much. So I'll clamp it a little bit. Let me see on camera. Right there, just enough to squeeze it in. And I turn the sensitivity. I'll put on full brake. And I'll run my sensitivity like that. I'll put my controller over here. I moved it around a little when I did that. Hit the handle. I'll put my controller there. I just simply walk away. See, hands free. It's a ghost car. And let it run for 6 hours like that. 4, 5, 6 hours. I'll just go in, watch TV, watch a couple movies, do some other stuff. And that's basically it. That's how I break the car in. Again, everybody does things differently. I'm not saying this is the right way and the only way. Whatever way you pick is fine. I know I was kind of talking about how people take it out and stick it in go-go juice or whatever, but it's one of those things. It's just not my preference. But you got some dirty tires and see the sensitivity is too much. But that's how I do it. I don't do anything special. The secret of the professionals, the secret of the pros, as Shooter McGavin used to say to Happy Gilmore, the secret of the pros. I have no secrets. I just freaking build the shit and run it. That's the fun of it. Once you get them up, I will get one built up. Oh, cool. Yeah, John. I'll, like I said, when we get them all set to go on the website, make sure you clear it with Dave what, gears we select and everything. And basically should be basically the same as the other 2 Camaros I have there already on the website, which is the ASA Camaro and the, what is the other one? The, gosh, can't even remember. There's the other Camaro. The regular wide body Camaro, the non-ASA one, the street, kind of like the street version of it with fender flares. But I'm going to put the Droop Snoop on there sooner or later. And magician showing his trick. No, not really. I mean, they're just, sometimes the simple solutions are the best solutions. I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say, everybody sticks it in tiger juice and fucking rubs it on their nuts or whatever to make it faster. It's what people prefer to do. I just think some of the things are kind of ridiculous. That, it's like, keep it simple, stupid. Put the damn thing together, run it, to break it in, just run it on your track by itself, at a low voltage, and it breaks in. It will. Same thing with tires. I don't true tires, rubber tires, Rubber tires are a bitch to true. I can do it, but to me, I don't like doing it. I usually, like on my Revos, I treat the tire with the stuff. So John turned me on to this stuff. John Albright. This is called the tire tweak stuff. This is what the RC guys use. You get a little of this, coat it on your rubber tires, a light coat, let it sit for a few hours overnight. And then when you're done, soaking in, you clean them up with some naphtha, and your tires are going to be like gummy bears. And the tires are treated, and they'll be fine. And then if you want to break them in that way, you put it on a low voltage with that little cheap clamp from Harbor Freight, and run your sensitivity to where it won't come off the track, and you can break in your rubber tires that way. Unless you want to spend $800 on that fancy machine that has 2 drums on it, and it's really it's for super racer guys, it's too much money to be spending on that on a hobby, because everybody's on the budget. Another thing too, budget wise, if you're building these cars, the best motors to get for these cars are, if you want to put a slot it, you can, but the Predator motors. The Predator motors are very really good value, because they're $7.99 to $11.99 depending on the motor you get, compared to if you buy something that's aftermarket for Carrera cars, which could run like 18 bucks a motor. And I've found those RMS motors, they're very expensive. For $18 for a motor, that's a lot of money, when you could buy a Predator motor, which is just as good, and you could get it in the RPM close to the range that one is, and you don't have to spend that much money. It's more of a value to you, and be able to save you some money instead of spending that much money on that motor, because that motor is expensive unless I see it anywhere cheaper. Because I was looking, they run from $17.99 to $19.99 for that RMS motor for the Carrera cars for 132. I know LEB had it for $19.99, and I think those Carrera slots had it for $17.99. I don't know if that's anywhere cheaper. I could be wrong, but that's pretty expensive. So that's why when we build these chassis and when we design them, Dave, I, and Harry, we look at the cost of it. That's why the kit comes with inserts, because these are insert wheels, right? And the wheels that are inserts are, I think they're $7.99, to whereas you buy like a custom wheel, like a Staffs, you're going to spend like $15, $16. See, this is why we made this kit, so this way it could be affordable for you to buy the supporting parts and not have to buy expensive wheels. You just jam the inserts in there after you paint them, and you're done. And it's it's cost effective. So that's how I look at it too. To save money and spend the minimal as possible, because the hobby could get expensive. I know there's other hobbies that are expensive, like guns and cars, 1-to-1 scale cars. That's a whole different thing. That that's far more expensive than this hobby. But this hobby could get very expensive. And ask Dave, Harry, myself, we know you start spending money here and there, and you lose track. But again, the kits are designed to use inexpensive quality parts, not cheap crap parts, but inexpensive quality parts. And Stock Car Corner's got a lot of inexpensive quality parts for scratch building, and that's why we go to them for brass chassis stuff, motor brackets, guide tongues, and they do have some brass pieces there as well, and their axles and all that stuff. It's everything. Their wheels, everything is cheaper there, and he has more control of where he gets that stuff from, because that stuff's all made here. So he doesn't have to worry about depending on a distributor to supply him motors. He'd rather have control of that, and that's what he does. He keeps all that stuff in stock, so that's the way people could buy it here, in the country, not worry about paying tariffs now with the way the world is with tariffs. So I hope I didn't miss any comments here. So Soccer, that's why I watch you guys. I pick up a little tip here and there and increases my knowledge. Yeah, no problem. And anything you want to ask us now, go for it. I mean, we all have emails and stuff, and you could email Dave and myself if you have a question about something. Dave, Stock Car Motors, Predator motors are great bargain. They're inexpensive. They perform great. They've never had a bad one. Very consistent. Yeah, and they're real consistent motors. So Big Oak, I didn't see you. How you doing? But yeah. Again, if you're looking to keep the costs down, what we recommend in the website, we have the cars there And if you scroll down, and a lot of people do this because I think it's because they don't realize that it's there. But when you see the kit on the 3A3D website, you scroll down and it's going to tell you all the links going to Slotco Corner for all the supporting parts for the car. So wheels, motors, gears, axles, guides, braid, wire, everything is there. So you don't have to go searching all over the place. And you just have to remember to scroll down, because that's one of the biggest questions I get is, hey, what parts do I need for this? Well, scroll down on it and you're going to see everything there. It's there. You just got to look. And then also how to assemble the kits. So on the page, it says support. When you click support on the top header of the page, it's going to come down and you're going to see that there are videos there for how to assemble the kit. Harry's done some on sanding the car, fine tuning the pod, stuff like that. Everything's there. The most important one is how to assemble the kit. Watch that video. Now, in the video, I show you how to install the body inserts, but I had stopped. How would you say? I do the inserts myself because, and it happens if you're not careful, you could snap the mount off. So what I do is I put the inserts in the body already and send it that way with the kit. So this way it eliminates the stress of you guys, have to worrying about breaking it, and then I have to send you another body because I feel like crap because you broke it, and I feel bad. So this way I eliminate all that by wasting, time and money and bodies to do the inserts here, and I do them here. And if they break on me, that's on me, and I just get another body or put another body and redo it. So it does happen. I've only had, I think, maybe one or two do it, and it does happen. So I'd rather it happen to me than happen to you guys, and then be bummed out not be able to put the kit together because the mount was broken. So, but anyways, that just remember the resource boards are real important. It's important to watch the resource, or excuse me, the support page. Excuse me, that's important. You need the support page on there to look at all the videos, and there's a lot of videos on a lot of things there, so I recommend you always just take a look and stuff. Excuse me, I'm looking at my phone here. Got a message from my job. I'll check something out. Okay, that's stupid. Why did you? All right, sorry about that. So they have a pay system at work, and you got to look at it to make sure your check's correct. So I was looking at that, which they didn't add my PTO, but I'll wait till they do that before I sign off on it. But anyways, I don't have the comments up. Sorry. If you guys have any questions on anything, good time. Hey, DJ Patrick, how you doing? How's everything going? But yeah, like I said, just make sure you scroll down on the site when you're ordering the kit. And if there's something that that's not there that you're not sure of, then email me. And then always look at the support page. I always say resources because Soccer Corner has one of those resources they call it, but on our pages is support, and you can just click on that, and there's videos there, on how to assemble the kit and everything. So it gives you a general idea, what to do. But again, these kits are a lot of fun. Once you get them together and paint it, they look fantastic. I mean, it's a cool looking slot car. They run real well. We really tested a lot in the beginning to make sure everything was, in order. We always anticipate, possibly, mistakes happening during assembly or ease of fitment. We look at all that stuff, and it's important. This is like for these cars in particular. One thing you got to remember is that you want to make sure you have no body to tire contact, meaning body to tire fouling. So you always want to make sure the body is where you're going to move the tires. It's not going to be rubbing on the body itself. Now I've put two 30,000 shims here and two 30,000 shims on the front, so to lift this body a little, because when you don't have it, it slams it down, and you may have rubbing contact. So I always try and put a couple of shims to help out. And there is a video in there that I have done on that also with your late model cars. I explain that. You can see you want that kind of spin action right there on your front tires. No resistance. If you have a dragging motion on there or resistance, you have issues. And the car doesn't, you could tell when you run the car how smooth it sounds when it goes around the track to comparison when you see it kind of rubbing and it kind of hops a little, and you're having wheel to body, tire to body contact. And then you can see it in the urethane or whatever tires you're running, you can see a mark in it. So that's really critical. That's the most critical thing out of scratch building and putting cars together is the tire to body contact. It's real important. Now again, we made it that way because we wanted to be able to have people to put, if they wanted to put like a narrower tire in there to where it's inside the wheel. Well, it's kind of hard to do on a Sidewinder. That way you keep the body low, but it's with this ones right here, I recommend adding shims to the body mount area, so this way it keeps it in a good position so it looks real good. See, no contact there, so when it's on the track, it doesn't do any weird stuff. It runs real nice and smooth and nice and easy. So, and again, this one in particular here, this car just sits fantastic, and you don't have to use any shims. It just sits perfectly. And of course, this is an inline, and you can see the difference, how much room you have compared to a Sidewinder to an inline. See, because the inline comes in more, and then you can tuck the tires in more, whereas a Sidewinder, you got to be careful with your tire selection if you plan on doing one where it's inside or within, even with the wheel well or with inside. That way you gotta probably change, wheel diameters. But that's what this car is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like a dirt track race car, asphalt racer, and they do stick out like that. That's what it was meant to do. That's why you have these humps here on the hood. Yeah, that's why they were made that way. But this car is really cool. And this one right here is sanded lightly, and then after I primed it, I sanded it real nicely, and I brought this to the nationals to show people it doesn't take much to sand these, and they feel nice and smooth. Nice paint job will apply on this really easily. You don't even have to use primer if you don't want to. I've done it before where you just sand it and then you shoot paint and it looks fantastic. So they're not hard to work with as far as sanding them down. But again, this car is a really cool looking car. This is an actual asphalt race car. They didn't have the pillars here. That was cars that did run that way. We do have some that have the pillars. We have cars that have the pillars. I just haven't printed any, but that's how it was. It was a piece of plexiglass wrapped around here, and that's why it doesn't have pillars. That was an actual car, and you can look it up. But it's a real cool looking car. This has got a nice, profile on the front. It's just really nice looking. I like this one a lot, but we're gonna definitely offer the digital option. I don't have any printed. Gabe and I have tested some chassis that will accept this Carrera chip, which is the stock one. We have the cutout in the bottom, the hole for the light, and it's also got a little mounting area with a screw you can mount it to, and a little mounting post on the chassis. And then the pod is a lot shorter than the ones that we have, because that's to accommodate the chip because it's so big to come over there. Slot Cardboard question: when comparing the Sidewinder to the inline motor, what are the advantages over one or the other? Sidewinder, I believe, is more about, you get more performance out of it. It's not as the way the motor is positioned over the axle. I guess you'd be kind of an advantage, because how Porsche cars have the engine over the axle. It's kind of that principle, I guess I would say, because you have all the weight on there, and it provides a little bit better performance. Whereas inline is not that it's a bad performing configuration. It's just inline's nice to have more room within your body to be able to put bigger tires instead of being constrained to just doing a certain size tire. Like, for example, the trucks, we have some that are Sidewinder and inline. So when you use the Sidewinder, I think you could only use a 15x8 wheel. That's about the minute, the max you could go to where it won't hit the inside of the fender. And I don't have any built because I gave all mine away when I was at the Nationals to some people. I mean completed cars too. They may have not been painted. Some were painted, some weren't. But the most expensive part of the slot car are the wheels. The wheels are expensive. Even at $7.99 a set, that's what? It's $16 that I gave away, including the gears and everything that came with the car. But I wanted people to have the car so they could have an idea what they were about, which is fine. They get an idea, and if they like them, they'll purchase them. If not, they'll just keep it or they'll do whatever the hell they want with it because I gave it to them. But angle liner is another one where there's more it gets the center of gravity over the car, and because it's like a long can angled, obviously that's another. It's just a better performing car because the way the weight distribution is on it and the way it's configured. So I mean, there's a lot of guys that have different preferences. There are rules to some, like for example, Home Racing World, the proxy is only inline because we keep it inline because it's the simplest way to how would you say make it easier for somebody who's first time building to do an inline because it's just a simple, just one configuration, stuff. But if anybody else wants to help out Slot Car Bro with commenting, maybe my explanation wasn't enough, please do for his question. But that's my answer. It is a better performing than the inline, in my opinion. But the inline does well too. It's just a matter of the type of car it is, the body, how much room there is. Let me show you. Hold on a second. Here's a couple of examples. Hey, Bill, what's up? So, like for example, Slot see this. This is a truck. The problem is if you use a Sidewinder, you have, see the motor. This is a slotted. How much you have to accommodate the gear, just like this one right here. See the gear? It's got a hub and it sticks out. So if you have to fit all that into this, you need a certain size tire to be a certain width in order to keep it in there. Now you can see how much distance there is right here from the chassis here to here. That's to accommodate the Sidewinder. Whereas at the inline, you can see how much there's more room here to put a tire in because the gear is in the center instead of off to the side, offsetting this. So it just makes it for the accommodation of the body too, because some cars you can't really do them in an inline, and some cars you can't really do them in a angle winder like this. In an angle winder, there's just not enough room for this Ferrari, so that's why they go with the Sidewinder. Angle winder to be kind of tough. Maybe if you lose a slim can motor, it'd work, but it all depends on the size of the car. Now, like this Porsche, see, this has got a nice wide body. You can see the angle wind this motor. There's plenty of room here because the way this is configured, the way this body's configured, you got these, the shape of the body. So it all depends on the shape of the car and everything. What could fit in it. Obviously, a real car, it's different. They have different axles and stuff like that. Configurations of the rear end. But for a slot car, there's only those 3 configurations, and it just depends on if they're able to fit it in there. And like NSR. Their cars, like for example, the Can-Am cars or the Porsches, the Lolas, they could only go Sidewinder. They can't go angle winder because the body's just so wide, and it'd be kind of like, not possible. I mean, they could do it if they put a slim cam, but the slim cam motor, I don't think is something that anybody wants to really deal with. They'd rather deal with, if it's an angle winder or a bigger long cam motor than an S cam than a small one. So, but again, it depends on the size of the car. That really dictates it. But hope that explains that. Again, I'm no expert. Maybe other people will comment on here later on in the comments. It'll be Mr. Spock like sometimes that happens, and I'll be like, oh, okay, cool, thank you. Too bad you weren't at my freaking live to say that. But that's pretty much what I hope that explains that. Again, I'm no expert, but that's how I see it. I'm not going to get technical. It's just basically it depends on the shape of the car and the width of the car. That's what really gives you the sidewinder, the inline, and the angle winder. So, because some cars you can make sidewinders, and some cars you can't make angle winders, and a lot of times, usually inline's the easy way because you have more room to do an inline chassis for a body and tire size than you would for a sidewinder and angle winder. So, but anyways, I hope that answers that question. But again, not an expert, but that's how I see it. But, all right, well, I was just on here just to show the car, just see the way it, worked and everything, and nothing fancy here. Just a good old, just hanging out and having fun and just running the cars and seeing how they do. And so far, I'm pretty happy with it. This is a real cool car. I think it'll be a lot of fun for people who build it. It looks good. And, it's got an interior, driver. It's got it all, and it's a really nice looking car. And I think it'll be fun to see some people what they do with this when they build it. It's really the exciting part I like is when I see finished cars. Obviously, this is just put together to test it, but when you get them all done up, they look really cool, and that's the part that I like the most. That gets me excited about that because you get to see people's creations and their iterations of what the car should look like. So it's a nice thing. But yeah, I like it. All right, cool, man. All right, otherwise that's it. I was just quick live, nothing. I would just say nothing long or anything like that. Just show the car off and everything, and just stand by for next year. We'll have some more stuff on the site and everything, and so as people have more choices of bodies and cars. So, anyways, that's it. As always, thanks again, guys, for watching. Appreciate it.